Hey guys, first of all, Merry Christmas Eve. I hope that you were just as festive as I am, and I hope that your day is awesome. But also, welcome to the first Apologetics Friday video. I hope that you are just as excited as I am. And if you're not caught up on the past few things I have been posting, basically we're doing a weekly thing every Friday where you can submit a question, whether it is apologetics related, which is just defending the Christian faith, or if there's just a topic that you want to talk about, and we just work through those questions together. So just to get on with it, we have two questions for today. The first one is, does the Bible support evolution? And the second one is, what motivates you to work on your faith if it starts to get shaky? So we will approach the evolution one first. So I think it's very important at first to define what we mean whenever we use the term evolution, because there are so many different things that people think of, whether it's something that we read on the internet or something that we've been taught in school. It's just a very broad umbrella that changes from person to person whenever we think about it. So a concrete definition of evolution from the internet says how organisms change and adapt over time as a result of inherited physical and behavioral characteristics that are passed down from parent to offspring. So basically just what it means is like how organisms change from generation to generation. So basically it just means change from this definition. And so what I kind of found from some research is that there's like the broad umbrella of evolution, and then there's like two different ways that it kind of splits off, which is still very broad. But there's microevolution and then there's macroevolution. So microevolution is the change on a small scale, such as selection occurring on a single gene or few genes in a single population over a short period of time. So basically what this means is it's still change, but it's in a very like observable way. It's on a small scale within species, like how certain birds have different beaks depending on where they live or the climate that they're in, or like what they need, kind of stuff. And so another example of this is like antibiotic resistance or pesticide resistance or herbicide resistance within plants and like all that stuff. So then there's macroevolution, which is said by scientists to be like a lot of microevolution, just kind of like over time kind of built together, that creates this big picture macroevolution. So the definition is change on a large scale that happens over a long period of time. And then this is where the scientists get the idea of like species creating entirely new species, or like the idea of unicellular to multicellular organisms in the creation of like life and everything, which is what we often think of as like this whole like ape to man or unicellular to multicellular kind of thing, or like, you know, like dogs turning into dolphins, or dogs turning into dolphins, and like all these different things turning into other things. And so from here I will go to the word. We will see what the word says about it, because that is what we believe. So the first part where we see this, and a lot of it is in Genesis, because that just talks about how God created everything and how everything came to be. So the first section is Genesis 1:11 through 13, and that talks about the vegetation. So I'll go ahead and read it. It says, "Then God said, 'Let the earth produce vegetation, seed-bearing plants, and fruit trees on the earth, bearing fruit with seed in it according to their kinds.' And it was so. The earth produced vegetation, seed-bearing plants according to their kinds, and trees bearing fruit with seed in it according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good. Evening came, then morning, the third day." So then the other part, we have two more parts. So the other part is in the same chapter, but it's verses 20 through 25, and this talks about the birds, the livestock, and the wildlife. And it's very much a pattern. So verse 20 says, "Then God said, 'Let the water swarm with living creatures, and let birds fly above the earth across the expanse of the sky.' So God created the large sea creatures and every living creature that moves and swarms in the water according to their kinds. He also created every winged creature according to its kind, and God saw that it was good. God blessed them. 'Be fruitful, multiply, and fill the waters of the seas, and let the birds multiply on the earth.' Evening came, and then morning, the fifth day." And then 24 through 25 talks about like the livestock and stuff. It's right after. It says, "Then God said, let the earth produce living creatures according to their kinds, livestock, creatures that crawl, and the wildlife of the earth according to their kinds. And it was so. So God made the wildlife of the earth according to their kinds, the livestock according to their kinds, and all the creatures that crawl on the ground according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good." And then one last section. It is the same chapter, but verses 26 through 31. So it says, "Then God said, let us make man in our image, according to our likeness." God talking the Trinity and all that stuff. "According to our likeness, they will rule the fish of the sea, the birds of the sky, the livestock, the whole earth, and the creatures that crawl on the earth." So God created man in his own image, and he created him in the image of God. He created them male and female. Okay, and then, so yes. So from here we see that if you didn't catch on to it enough, the words "according to its kind" was said, in my version it said 10 times in one chapter. And that is a lot of times, enough to where you can't pass by it anymore. So this part, "according to its kind," in the Hebrew means a sort or species. So that basically just means like a class, a group, a kind, or something distinguished by some common characteristic. Okay, so this is also used in Genesis 6 whenever God is talking to Noah about like building the ark and bringing the animals on the ark, and he also uses it in other places too. So from here we see that it says like a species. So a species is basically just like, what is it? Things that can interbreed. So we see that he created everything according to its kind. So everything according to its own species. So from this we see like microevolution is like those small changes like within species. So that, yes, we see those things over time, those things are supported. But whenever we start talking about macroevolution and species, creating entirely new species and like adding information and changing, that is not supported. Because we see that God created these things individually. He didn't create like this one thing, this unicellular thing, and it grew into multicellular. The Bible doesn't say that God created apes and they turned into men. Like it says that he created each and everything according to its kind, like within its own little subsection, and it does its thing within species according to like, you know, the change of the climate or the change of like where they are. And so from this we see like those small changes, yes, we see those. And the macroevolution is not supported. That is not what the Bible teaches. The Bible teaches that God created the earth in 6 days, and it just went on from there. Nowhere else in the Bible does it say that we came from this blob or we came from like this other thing. It's like he created man and man has stayed man. He created the livestock and the livestock has stayed livestock, if you catch what I'm saying. So yeah. And I think that we often think that like science and the Bible can't go together. I mean, the Bible is essentially where we get our guide from and what we get our initial information from, because it's the Word of God. Like, this is where we get all of our information from. But science is just the study of God's creation. So we can use it just out of caution. And so that is for that discussion. And so the other thing that someone asked was, what motivates you to work on your faith if it starts to get shaky? So I feel like it's more of like a personal thing, but just from the Word, I know that I've been through times where I have either like questioned like, why do I believe what I believe? Or like, is this actually true? Like, yes, we go through ups and downs and doubts and like hard times, and we go through this awesome times too. But that doesn't make it any less powerful or any less real. So the things that I would just say is that, one, those times whenever I was just like questioning whether it was real or not, or like purpose, I got into the Word. Like, this is like the only reason that I have hope, and it is the only reason that any of us has hope, and it's more abundant than anything else that the world could give us. And so I just got along with God. Well, first, He's not afraid of your questions. He's not afraid of your doubts. He is the God of the universe. He's way bigger than that. So please just don't be afraid if you have questions or if you have doubts to come with Him or to come to Him with those things, because He's not afraid of them, and He will stick with you. He says that He will never leave you. He will walk with you through those things. So first of all, just get into the Word and pray and be honest with God, because you can do that because we have a good Father who will not run away, but who sticks with us through the good and the bad. And another thing that I have like constantly been learning is like faith over feeling. So again, taking what the Word says, what is true, what is honorable, what is just, what is pure, what is lovely, what is commendable, and that is in Philippians 4, just in case you want to look that up. But taking what the Word says, taking what is true instead of what I feel, because feelings are real, but they're not reliable. Feelings are not a bad thing, but they shouldn't be what guides us into what we think is true. And so, yeah, I am so excited about this, and that you guys submitted questions, that you guys are hopefully going to watch it, and I hope that this provides a lot of really good information. And so if you have a question to ask for next week, or if you have anything about this week that you want to like dig in deeper to, please let me know, because I'd be so excited to walk through this stuff with y'all. And I love y'all, and Merry Christmas Eve, guys. Have an amazing holiday season, and see you guys next Friday.